Well, it's time for Finding the Words. I'm Hope here at Crafty Hope, and Finding the Words is a series I created for myself last year to give me a different way to be inspired to work in my journal. I don't really need another way to be inspired, but it's kind of neat to start in a way opposite from where I would normally start. So normally we'd create a page and then go at the end, find a word that kind of goes, or a sentiment that goes with the page. In this iteration, I am going to start with the word and then start on the page, and I bring myself back to the sentiment over again. Basically, I'll work on something and be like, oh wait, yeah, that's right, I'm supposed to be using that word, or words. So I draw these at random. I've also got a huge pile of art journals here for me to work in because I just have too many. I have too many, and I don't know which one I want to work in. So, typically, I draw from this container, which is an old, you can see, instant coffee canister, and it has things I've printed out. It's got clippings from old books. It's got die cuts. It's got, I don't even know, fortune cookies, all kinds of something. I think there's something I've typed before. Anyway, all kinds of stuff in here. But what we're fixing to do is add some more because I was trying to find something in this mess of a craft room of mine. And I found this container with a bunch of words. I found some words in a container. I think I was doing some little stacks of things, and I thought, oh, I'll sit down and cut up a bunch of words. Well, this is where I put them. And you know what? I don't need 2 containers full of words. We're gonna consolidate. Look, I'm cleaning. Oh, I've got a clean container now. Let's move my journals. I just have them here because it's more interesting to look at that than just my hands, I think, when I'm recording these. So I don't want to lose this. Okay, so I'm gonna stir these words up, y'all. I'm super sorry if I'm knocking y'all around. I'm gonna stir this up a little bit. Trying to get everything kind of stir it up. I'm making up songs here. Okay, I'm in a mood. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull out 3 at random. I am not looking at my hands. I'm not looking at the words. Pull out 3 at random and then pick which of those 3 calls to me the most. So let's see what we got. First one is the Charming Miss. That's it. The Charming Miss. Blank. My second one says, don't even think about it. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. And let's see, number 3 says, the flame of his agony. Y'all, you heard it in my voice. I've got to do don't even think about it, because I don't know what direction we can go with that. I mean, I definitely feel like, this is going to have a girl on it, and she'll have to be cute and charming. Yeah, but don't even think about it. It just cracks me up. So it made me laugh. We're going there. Well, I might have to use a flame of his agony because it will not come up. Okay. All right. So now to figure out which journal I'm going to use. And we'll get started. So I started flipping through all of those 5 journals I had. I think it's 5 journals I had there. I tend to work on them in like chronological order, except for this one. I kind of flipped through this one. It was just kind of flipping through, just trying to decide what pages I really liked. And what you can see I'm like testing out or auditioning the sentiment to see like where it works best. And y'all, I really loved this page. It is a rust dyed piece of, I don't know, some kind of notebook paper that I really was loving that. But I also really loved, you can see I had my word of the year dare on one of those other ones, and I loved the combination of those 2 words there. And so I kind of, looking at that rusty page that I loved so much, I was thinking, I really don't want to obscure it too much, but I still want to like do something. So I turned to some vellum. I had recently seen some videos that, I don't know, somebody had used something clear and I was fairly sure it was vellum. And I was like, I wonder if you can emboss vellum. So sure enough, you can. And I'm sure this is something everybody else knows. It's just something I've never done before. So I die cut and embossed several pieces, and so that I could still have that like transparent nature to whatever I put in here. And so I thought, okay, well, let's test it with this is some of my precious Quinachridone Nickel Azo Gold that I put on this piece. And this was going to be my tester piece. And you can see I put it on there and it leaked straight through, because apparently when I embossed it, it just tore straight through the vellum. And that was supposed to be my tester piece, but once I got it inked up and dried, y'all, I loved it. Because I was going to use that other piece that kind of looked like bubble wrap. But yeah, no, this one spoke to me. And so I kind of, it was cut in this weird, because I had, the page I had done the bubble wrap with just had like a side panel that didn't get embossed. And so I cut that off, and that's what I ran through. And so it's just this weird little piece. Well, as I looked at it, I was like, oh, this could be a really neat, like, belly band. So that's where I decided to take this. And I never do belly bands or tuck pockets or any of that because I don't. So what I decided to do, again, I want to alter this page, but not obscure it completely. So I thought, okay, well, I can do a little bit of doodling on it. So here is an R2 pen from Dollar Tree. If you've watched some of my other videos in the past, I love these because they can get super bleedy. I love how when you hit water on them, they bleed out. Now these in particular, normally the R2 pens are a 0.7 millimeter, so a little bit chunkier. This is the 0.5, so not as much ink is coming out of this one, but it's still going to serve my purpose. I love a fine tip. So I'm going to do some really simple doodling on here, and then hit it with a wet paintbrush. And so I'm doing this just a little bit at a time so the ink doesn't dry. Like I said, this is the 0.5 millimeter, so not as much ink is coming out, and so it's drying pretty quickly. But I just wanted to keep that kind of grayed out, grungy. I was a little annoyed that as I worked down the page, you can see I'm kind of tilting to the right. So I'm going to turn my journal and get these last little doodles in here. So while I was doing some of the doodling, I was thinking about my found words, don't even think about it, and how that can be interpreted. And I kept thinking about seeing my word of the year, which is dare, and how I want to not think too hard about what I do and dare and try new things. And that's kind of where I was going with this page, was that don't even think about what you want to do. Just instinctually do the things that feel right. Just go for it. Just don't think about it. Dare to do the things that you are compelled to do. So that's what I'm really trying to do with this page. So when I looked at this page and how much I like the rust dye, I thought about, well, I don't want to cover this up. What can I do to alter this page but not cover it? So I did think about it a little bit, but I was like, oh, I could put vellum. So that's where I went with the vellum. And then I was like, well, I still want to add something else. How about a little doodle? So I'm really kind of going for the things that feel right. You can see I added a little bit of splatter with some white acrylic ink. And then I was like, I want to add gold. How do I want to add gold? Well, I had picked up a bunch of these Jane Davenport daubers, whatever they are. And I've tried using one of them and it didn't do great. So I was like, but that would be fun to try out adding some gold. So I said, don't even think about it. Just grab it. So I put in a little bit of gold craft paint, some gold fluid acrylic paint, and then a little bit of airbrush medium. I didn't measure any of that, y'all. I just threw it in there and I'm shaking it up to make it combine. And I'm going to test it over here on this just side paper, which is getting to be super yummy. I'm going to have to use that for something before too long. So What I really would like it to do is splotch out. I think I'll have to add either some water or some more airbrush medium to that. But in the meantime, I added some dots on here, added some water, and then I'm taking that big paintbrush and kind of just, yeah, you see, getting that to move around. And it didn't even hit me, but do you see where I had rustite at the top and it has those circles on it? Oh my gosh, maybe that's the instinctual thing called out to me and was like, you need circles. So, yeah. So I'm just letting this kind of drip a little bit down the page. I only had 2 drips and I was like, nope, I need at least 3. So I pulled one down and I'm going to pick up a little bit of what's pooling out at the bottom and then, of course, dry this. And I'm looking at my little altered vellum sheet. And I knew I needed, if I was going to make this a belly band, I needed to tuck something in there. So I thought, ooh, a tag would be good. So I tried a white tag and it seemed too stark. And I was like, well, I could make a black tag. And that was like, okay, well but while I was looking, I saw I had this tag that is, of course, like a craft or manila color that I don't know if I altered it or somebody gave it to me altered, but it looks like it just had some, like, maybe it was in a rust dye or a coffee bath or something. It's grungied up. So I was like, this is perfect because it's not too much. It feels like it's meant for and fits into that page. So I went ahead and inked it up the edges of that tag and of my vellum with some walnut stained distress ink. And to stick, I always have the hardest time with vellum, y'all, finding the right thing to get it to stick down. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to use some double-sided tape here. So this is some 1/4 inch score tape that, I just cut down on either side, and I decided to just peel up one side and stick that down. And y'all, I'm so mad about where I stuck it. Like it went down and it's not all the way on the inside like I want it to be. So I was like, oh no, it's gonna hang over the edge on the other side. So, and I tried to peel it up, but nope, this stuck. It did what it was supposed to do, and it stuck. So I'm gonna have to cut because I don't want that stickiness hanging over the other side. So I'm going to end up having to just cut it down. You see what I'm doing. Just cut it down and go ahead and pull it up. So, there. And I've made a belly band. I think that's what it's called, right? Even when it goes across, because I've seen up and down belly bands. One that goes side to side is also a belly band, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. And my tag fits in there just like that. And you saw, I got kind of excited. So I'm going to go ahead and get my sentiment. This is don't even think about it. And ink it up as well, just so it'll stand out a bit more. And again, I'm going to have to stick it to that vellum. So I'm making sure that it is wide enough that I can put that score tape on the back of it as well to make it stick down on there. And this, y'all, like I said, this piece of vellum got holes in it because they tore when I embossed it. And it adds so much texture because of the holes. And so, like, some of the texture there almost looks like fish scales. I hope you'll be able to see it in some of the pictures I share with y'all at the end. So something has to be on my little tag. And I decided to type up the words, just go for it. So it says, don't even think about it, just go for it. Because that's what I was doing in this page. So type that up, cut it out, inked it up, and I'm just using an Oohoo glue stick to stick it right in the middle of this tag. And again, I'm trying to remind myself to be instinctual with this, and I knew I needed something else on this card. And so I took that R2 pen, scribbled around it really messily. Of course, I'm going to hit some of it with some water, make it even messier. And when you have a tag like this, especially with a hole at the top, it is, I don't know, it's kind of like necessary to add something in that hole. So I got some rusty tea, no, not rusty tea. It is, I always want to say tea towel, but it's a flour sack towel. That I just cut down a little piece, and I'm going to do a lark's head knot at the top of it. So bending it in half, making a loop, pulling the ends through that loop and tightening it. And then instinctually, I was like, I need to add something else to this. And I decided a button. A button is what I need to add right there. So I found a button. I put some black thread on a needle because I want, I when there's a button, there's an opportunity to add more texture, to add thread on this. And you can always just glue a button down, but I am always going to be one for sewing it on. So I'm doing the same thing. If you saw my Seek, Gather, Create for this week the other day, I like to often just leave the tail through the front and then tie a knot in the top so that you have, I don't know, you don't have to worry about making a knot at the end of your thread or any of that stuff. And it gives you a little bit of extra texture. Now, I started to put my needle up, but I was like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to just sew on to this tag? And I said, don't even think about it. Just do it. Just go for it. So I'm making some really messy stitches on there. And again, I didn't put a knot on the end. I left a tail and I put it on the back. And so I'm just going to tie this double knot on the back of it. And I think, do I trim it even? I think I'll just leave those threads free so they kind of match the threads on my button. And y'all, I love this. I realized I needed to have a little bit of something else on this tag. And I was like, oh, more gold, because that way it kind of fits with the gold. So I did a couple of splotches on there, and I only did 2, but I was like, you know what? I need 3 because odd numbers. So I did one more, evening it out, a little bit of splatter, and then I'm going to try it, and this page is done. Y'all, I love it. I love the instinctual nature of it. I love the message. I love the lessons that I learned with it. I hope it inspires you to go with your gut, do what feels right, and don't even think about it. Just go for it. All right, let me know if you have any questions or comments or anything. Make sure you like this if you like it, and subscribe if you haven't. It always helps me out. And I will see y'all later with more art and crafty things. Thanks for watching. Bye.